Hello and welcome to the Diamond Diaries Podcast. My name is Colin McPherson. I'm here with today's guest, Sean Zaslaw. Sean, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Why don't you just introduce yourself? You're a pitcher for Bryant Baseball.
Yep. I'm Sean Zaslaw from Weymouth, Mass. Me and Colin were high school teammates and friends in high school. I'm a pitcher for Bryant University right now and playing summer ball for the North Shore Navigators. So that's kind of what I've been up to.
In Bryant Baseball, that's a very good program, especially in the Northeast. That's kind of one of the top programs. Last year, 2024 season, you won the American East.
Yep.
You were right up there in the championship this year.
Yep.
But obviously you were hurt for a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But just talk, Northeast, going to the regional in the College World Series and how cool that was.
Yeah, that was crazy. We were at NC State. That was the first time I've been in front of it's probably 4,000, 5,000 people. And the atmosphere was just crazy. I've never been in a situation where there's just an echo from every fan there. And then you're jogging down the line and there's people heckling you, and it was kind of crazy. And obviously NC State was very good team, probably the best team we played all year. And we were in the game too for 3 innings. We went up 1-0. One of our guys, Jackson Finney, hit a home run. We were up 1-0. We were looking pretty good, and then they just kind of got the bats going, and it kind of got out of hand from there. But it was a really cool experience.
Yeah, no, and they had some dogs on that team too out there. No pun intended with the Wolf Pack, but
yeah.
And then you guys played James Madison next.
Yep, we did. It wasn't too close of a game, but I was fortunate enough to, I think I got 0.1 of an inning, came in with 2 outs, ended up getting the out, so it was pretty cool to pitch at NC State in front of a good amount of people, so that was really cool.
Now, you mentioned the heckling. You got jogging down the line.
Yeah.
Does that give you a new perspective on what it might be like with a major league player? Because you said it was 4,000 or 5,000. Sometimes it's times 10 in attendance.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely weird. As a reliever, we all run down to the left field foul pole every time, so we had to deal with that every time. I think it was kind of cool practice, just because you kind of have to just be focused on what's happening on the field and not really care about what's happening with the fans. So obviously you're in a big stadium, you're not going to worry about what anybody else is saying to you. So it's kind of good practice to just be focused on the game and not really let that other stuff come into, play.
Oh, 100%. And, you face some good players on those teams. Is there anyone that stood out for you? I know one of the guys, Jacob Cozart, who is, I believe, the catcher for NC State. Yeah. He's a top prospect in the Guardians organization right now. Anyone else, really stick out to you?
I'm forgetting his name a little bit. Maybe you know him. I think he was number 99. He was their third baseman. Okay. I think he was an ECU transfer. He was really good. I think he got a few hits against us. He was legit. And then I can't really remember names on these guys from the regionals, but James Madison had a few legit guys too. So I mean, we didn't see guys of that caliber really leading up to that point. We were at UCF earlier in the year. We actually played them the last 2 years, and there's some legit guys there. So that was those are kind of the highest levels of competition we faced.
100%. And then for you have any teammates that really you watch them play and you're wow, this guy's just moving a bit different than everyone else?
Yeah, our shortstop this past year, Drew Wires, he actually just transferred to Mississippi State. He was my roommate too. Yeah. Really good player. He started the year off hurt. He broke a bone in his hand. Oh. So he got a bad start to the year, not being able to play. And then he came in the 3rd or 4th weekend and just went on an absolute tear. I think he ended the year hitting over 400, over 10 home runs. So that was a guy, he impressed a lot of people. Yeah. And another guy too, he was a freshman, Mike Belcher. He came in as a freshman. He ended up being our Friday guy. Yeah. So you don't really see that, a freshman, taking that role. And he was really good. great command,
Mm-hmm.
good stuff. So that's another guy who impressed me this year.
Yeah. And do you feel like you guys are kind of loaded up for another run next year?
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely losing some big pieces like Drew transferred and stuff, but we're getting some pretty solid transfers, and we are returning a lot of good players.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think we could repeat and have another solid year.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And you mentioned it's a little bit different in college baseball, just preparation-wise.
Yeah.
And what you're looking to do
Yeah.
to face people as
Yeah.
a pitcher.
Yeah.
Can you kind of dive into that a little bit?
Yeah. Like getting to college, like you start to realize like how important it is to like be ahead in counts. In high school, my thought process was honestly like, how can I strike people out?
Yeah.
Like if you asked me as a high school kid, like would I rather throw 5 pitches to a guy and strike him out, or like 1 pitch to a guy and have him line out? Like I would probably say in high school, like 5 pitches and strike him out.
Yeah.
But I start to realize how important it is to get ahead in counts early and get weak contact early in the count if you can.
Yeah.
And, you know, try not to pitch around guys. Like that's the biggest thing. Like getting ahead in the count, because like a hitter in a 2-0 count versus like a 0-2 count, it's completely different.
Yeah.
Like in a 2-0 count, I don't know what guys are hitting, but it's a lot higher than 2 strikes.
Yeah, it's definitely like at least double usually.
Yeah. So like, I mean, if you can get a first pitch strike, and you know, it's basically about how quickly can you get to 2 strikes, and then you become a way better pitcher.
Yeah.
You know, it honestly doesn't even really matter like what stuff you have. If you have 2 strikes on a guy, like, you know, he doesn't know what you're going to go to. You could be up, you could be down. When you're 2-0, you lose like all of your predictability, or unpredictability. So like getting ahead in counts that would probably be like the biggest thing.
Yeah, definitely. And then you also mentioned more just in terms of managing the game. There was an
Yeah.
adjustment there too.
Yeah. In high school, like the running game, it didn't even cross my mind. Like I was slow to the plate. I
Yeah.
was just like worrying about the hitter. And then in college, you know, there's way more small ball. Guys are, you know, looking
Yeah.
to take bases. You know, there's, you know, first base coaches, you know, have a stopwatch and they're, you know, timing you up so they can tell
Mhm.
their runner, like, you know, he's a breath and then he pitches, or he, you know, takes 2 seconds and he pitches every time. Like that was a big change. Like I had to vary my timings and like really try to become less predictable, because in high school that was definitely an issue. So I had to get to college and, you know, start to worry about the guy on first, you know, holding him close, and,
Yeah.
you know, also worrying about the hitter. So that was a big change.
Oh, it seems like it. And, you know, you didn't have to worry about it even too much as a high schooler because you didn't let too many people on base.
No.
But, yeah, I mean, and we'll just take this all the way back to now you as a kid growing
Yeah.
up. Like, were there pitchers that you kind of admired growing up as a fan?
Yeah. I was always like a big fan of, I mean, he's old time, but like Nolan Ryan, just
Yeah.
like what he was able to do. Like, you know, I tried to, I mean, I don't go over the head, but I would like to like imitate his mechanics every once in a while.
Yeah.
Kershaw, obviously, like these are 2 all-time greats. Like those are guys I would watch and kind of like admire, and so those are probably 2 guys that I really, you know, admire still to this day.
Yeah. And do you feel like there's a little bit of Nolan Ryan or Clayton Kershaw kind of in your mechanics now? Because we mentioned this with Gil on our previous episode, where he would say he looked at Andrew Benintendi's swing, and even though he's no longer trying to copy Benintendi's swing, because it was kind of his swing growing up, you know, he can still see parts of it there. Do you feel the same way with either of those guys?
Maybe like a touch of Nolan Ryan. I mean, I feel kind of crazy like comparing myself to him, but like maybe like a touch of him. Maybe.
Mechanically.
Yeah, mechanically, maybe
Yeah.
maybe a little bit of Nolan Ryan. Maybe I like
But-
to say that.
But, you know, and as you look now, you know, things have obviously progressed in the game. Kershaw is on his way out. Nolan Ryan's obviously been retired for about 40 years
Yeah.
at this point. Who in the game right now that's young pitcher excites you and it's like, I kind of want to turn the TV on and watch him play?
Yeah, the guy Schlittler made his debut for the Yankees yesterday.
Okay.
That was pretty cool. Just like seeing like that's a a guy who played in our league in high school. Like he's going out pitching in the major leagues, like first strikeout, he throws 100. You know, it's just like that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool to see. I'm trying to think about other guys. Dylan Cease, like that's another guy, like just like electric stuff.
Yeah.
Mizorowski, Skeens, like their stuff is just unreal, and it's just, you know, Mizorowski's throwing a 97 mile per hour slider, and it's just like, I've never seen that. Like, that's crazy, like, you know.
No,
so those guys, I mean, those are guys you want to turn the TV on for.
And Mizorowski kind of got the keys handed to him from Kershaw the other night. He went into the game saying, I don't even know who Mizorowski is, and then he's kind of like, you know, well, how do you hit him?
Yeah.
So,
honestly,
but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of progression in the game, and I was wondering, you know, have you noticed a change in how you interact with the game of baseball as a fan from when you were a kid, kind of looking at those Nolan Ryan videos and watching Kershaw, to now where you're looking at Schlittler and Skeens and Mizorowski and Cease?
Yeah, I mean, I try to just, like, watch the game closer. Like, I try to, like, see what these pitchers, like, what are they doing with, you know, 2 strikes and a count, like, what locations are they going to? Like, when I was younger, I was just, you know, I was watching for, you know, the 100 mile per hour fastballs and, you know, the home runs and stuff. But now I'm trying to, like, actually, like, gain something from it and, like, see if I can, like, take something from their game and, like, put it into mine. So, like, I'm trying to, like, watch a game and, like, not actually taking notes, but taking, like, mental notes and, like, seeing, like, you know, what can I take from Skeens? You know, like, what is his persona on the mound? Like, what is he going to in certain counts? Like, I'm trying to take, like, what does he do, and, like, can I gain anything from it? So I'm trying to, like, take notes and see what I can, like, take from them.
And then another question I want to kind of ask you about you looking at other people's stuff is the pitch clock. So you pitch with the pitch clock in the American East, correct?
Yep.
So when you pitch, you never had a pitch clock growing up.
No.
So you kind of had to just watch how people handled it. Is that something that's more from your teammates? How did you adjust to that?
I kind of, like, went right into college. Like, my freshman year, like, we had to deal with the pitch clock. So, like, I kind of just stepped right into it and had to adapt quick. And I like to think I'm a guy who, like, works quick already. Mm-hmm. So, like, it wasn't a huge change, but you definitely have to be aware, like, of, you know, there's a clock you're seeing every time you're facing a hitter and it's winding down. So, I mean, it's definitely, like, way more of a, you just have to be way more focused on and make sure you're working quick enough. So, I mean, I adapted pretty quickly to it, but I mean, it's definitely something that was a change. Yeah,
no, and that seems like, you know, when you're already trying to figure out all these things, that it's like, I'm trying to think more analytically and all this stuff, you're having something, a kind of curveball thrown at you, like, okay, well, now you only have 30 seconds to kind of think this through.
Yeah.
So is there anything else when you watch a Mizorowski or a Skeens pitch where it's, like, super, super in the weeds analytical that you're looking at? Maybe not just like an 0-2 fastball, like, placement, but, like, something super minute that maybe the normal person wouldn't recognize.
I wouldn't say it's, like, minute, but I try to, like, watch the way, like, those big time guys, like what their body language is. Like, you know, if they throw 2 balls in a row, like, what are they doing to, like, get back into the zone? So, like, I'll watch that. Like, how do they kind of, you know, like, what is their persona on the mound? Like, how do they kind of go about their business? Like, I'm kind of watching that. It's not like a minute detail, but it's probably something, like, not everybody's looking at. Like, I'm trying to see how these guys, like, deal with failure. Like, how do they kind of go about that stuff? And, you know, what is their body language? And, you know, what are they doing pre-pitch? You know, because some guys have, like, a pre-pitch routine they do, like, with a breath or, like, a focal point. So I'm trying to, like, pay attention to all that stuff, you know.
Okay. And then when you're talking failure, when you're on the mound, how do you constitute failure? Is it not locating a pitch high and inside and maybe missing low and away? Like, does it have to end up being a ball, or is it just not locating a pitch inside the zone?
I would say, like, walks are something that I don't like. like if I'm in the zone and I make a pretty good pitch and he hits a base hit up the middle, or he even hits like an extra base hit, like I'm not too upset about that. But if I walk a guy, I'm probably not going to be too. I try not to like ride the highs and lows too much, but walking a guy is definitely way more annoying than making a pretty good pitch in a good spot and he hits an extra base hit. So I would say that if I'm making a good pitch and he hits a home run, I'm not thinking about it too much.
Yeah. Okay. So that makes a lot of sense. And then when you look at failure that sometimes maybe isn't in your control, something like an error on the field, or something that could have been an error, was a hit maybe in the scorebook.
Yeah.
Like, do you look to them to see how they maintain their composure after that as well, or?
Yeah, definitely. Because I think if one guy on your team is freaking out after he makes an error, he's bad attitude, I feel like it can kind of leak to like other guys. One guy is not in the best headspace, and I feel like other guys start to I feel like it's just contagious. And I think it's important to bring those guys back up after they have a tough at bat, make an error, whatever it is. Like I feel like it's important that everyone's kind of in a good headspace. So it's important to like bring guys up and make sure everyone is ready to go for the next pitch.
Now, obviously, for most of the game, you're in the bullpen.
Yeah.
But, like, once you get back in the dugout, is that something maybe you kind of take upon yourself, even when you're in the dugout, to kind of rally the guys and get them together?
I would say, like, one big thing about pitchers is I feel like we bring a lot of juice to the dugout.
Yeah.
I feel like position players sometimes they kind of lack in that a little bit. And then I feel like sometimes pitchers come to the dugout and it's just way louder.
Yeah.
So, like, we try to kind of, like, bring some energy and, like, kind of, bring guys up. I feel like pitchers, that's, like, one thing they're pretty good at because, we're not in the box, but, we're in the dugout and we're trying to, like, bring our guys up, and that's kind of what our contribution can be in the dugout.
So how do you try to bring some energy while you're in the bullpen? Is it talking to the left fielder, trying to get him pumped up, or I don't know where your bullpen is in Bryant, but
it's left field.
Yeah.
It's about like bringing good energy. Like we're not always super serious out there.
Yeah.
Obviously, like when we're in between the lines, like it's serious and we're trying to get the job done. But there's always times to make a joke with your left fielder and make sure everyone's loose, having fun. And then the bullpen's usually like a pretty fun place. It's obviously we're focused, but we're having fun too. I think that's like a big thing, like making sure like everyone's like loose, having fun, like because we started playing this game as kids. Like it shouldn't be something that is too serious. Like it should always be fun. So like I feel like if we can try to make it as fun as possible, that's kind of what you want to do.
Yeah. And how important is it for you? Because relief pitchers, it's just so focused on you get your inning, and your performance and your coaches trusting you rides or dies on that one inning.
Yeah.
How important is it for you guys to kind of, if one of you has a rough outing, to pick each other back up? Maybe they're down in the bullpen the next game and they're not feeling it. Yeah. How important is it for you guys to like kind of keep each other upbeat and confident?
Yeah. It's pretty important because like as a reliever, it's a little different from like a starter because you could get a chance, you could be back out there the next day or like a day or two. As a starter, it's like you kind of have to wait a week, so that might be a little bit tougher if you have a tough outing. Yeah. But like as a reliever, like it's important to make sure everyone's staying level-headed because you never know when you're going to get another chance. And obviously starters, it's important to to keep their head up too. And never to get too down, because you always have another bullpen, another outing that's going to come pretty soon. So if you let that last outing kind of come into the next one, you're not going to be at your best. So it's like it's pretty much about like can you be as present as possible in like the current outing, current pitch.
Yeah,
that's probably what it's about.
Yeah, that's great advice. And how do you kind of keep yourself present while it's on the mound? Is it breathing? Is it more of a just taking a step off and walking around for a second?
I would say like the biggest thing is probably breathing. Like I try to every pitch, like I'm visualizing like where I want to execute this pitch and I'm taking a breath. And I feel like when you take a breath, you're kind of focused on like the task at hand. You know, you're trying to have that breath kind of like keep you as present as possible, not worrying about, you know, maybe what your coach is saying or, you know, even like the hitter, you know, you know, you take a breath and it's kind of locking you back into like, let's execute this one pitch, you know?
Yeah. Now, how, in terms of trust in your pitch callers, like who I don't know if you can disclose this, but who calls the pitches for your team?
Our pitching coach does. We have a watch and we get the pitch call.
So you get the pitch call from your team, right?
Yep.
And then how important is it for you, your catcher, and your pitching coach to all sort of have this foundation of trust between each other so you're aware of, like, you know, I believe in this guy's what he's telling me, and how important is that?
Yeah, it's important. You know, if you come out of an inning, like our pitching coach is always open to like him, you know, or the two of us talking about, you know, this felt good or, you know, I feel like this pitch is really working with 2 strikes or whatever it is. So like it's pretty big to have like that open communication.
Yeah.
We also do have the ability to swipe off. So we have like a swipe off system. We don't do it too much, but, you know, it's definitely important to have that communication with the coach just so he knows, like, you know, what you're feeling your best with. And, you know, he's open, you know, if you tell him, like, this pitch isn't really working or, like, this pitch is feeling better today, like, he's going to call that more. And so, I mean, communication's huge, you know, with pitch calling and stuff.
Yeah, and, you know, I know it's been talked about in the major leagues a little bit where it's talking, you know, maybe some infielders have access to that information. Is that something you guys do, or?
Yeah, I think everyone has the watch. So, you know, if it's a breaking ball, the infield might shift a certain way.
Yeah.
So I think it's, you know, important that everyone knows. And, you know, we'll also put, like, if it's a pickoff play.
Yeah.
So, like, everyone sees the same stuff. It's pretty important everyone's on the same page.
Yeah, and going back to the different preparation from high school to college at that level, how much of an emphasis is put on everyone knowing exactly where they're supposed to be every pitch, as opposed to high school where it's kind of like, as long as you're somewhat in the right position, you're good?
Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, way different. You know, like college, there's a lot more small ball. Obviously, there's small ball in high school, but, you know, I feel like the plays are more in-depth in college. And, you know, on a back pick play, like, everyone needs to know, like, that's happening. And we need to know exactly, like, how many looks, like, on what look are we picking off on. Like, everyone has to be on the same page because, you know, if the infielder isn't 100% prepared and the pitcher picks off, you know, it's a disaster. So, like, everyone has to know what's happening. You know, the outfielders have to know, like, they need to back up. So, I mean, it's not just the pitcher and the catcher who have to know. Like, everyone pretty much has to be on the same page for, you know, everyone to be in the best spot.
Yeah, and that's something that always impresses me when, you know, I watch a college game, is like how, you know, prepared everyone kind of seems.
Yeah.
And even when they make the mistakes, it seems more like a lapse than like a recurring thing.
Yeah.
And I just want to maybe wrap this up a little bit with, what are you looking to do in the future? Like, what are your goals for the next year? Where do you see yourself and Bryant baseball going in the next 2 years you're there?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to, obviously, if we can win another conference championship, that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
You know, being able to win that and then go to a regional. Like, a regional is a awesome experience to be able to play in front of huge crowds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, and I'd like to have a big contribution to that. You know, have a good role and, you know, help the team win as much as possible. And then, you know, down the road, you know, my ultimate dream is to play professionally.
Yeah.
You know, that's my dream since I've been a kid. So I'm going to work as hard as possible. And, you know, it starts with, you know, what I'm doing this summer and, you know, what I can do to get better. And then moving into next year, you know, looking to win another championship. So that'd be pretty cool.
And for professionally, like, you're talking drafted major leagues, you want to go overseas at some point. Is that something you want to do, or?
Yeah, I mean, I want to continue to play, like,
Yeah.
for sure. Like, if I could get drafted to, you know, into the minors and work my way up, like, that's a dream.
Yeah,
if I could
perfect.
do that.
I think you do, but.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you
It's
for having
great
me.
to talk to you. Been looking forward to this for a long time.
Yeah.